Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to My Hometown. I'm Bill Horan, along with my co-host, Nassau Community College student Mike DeMarco.
Today, we're going to learn about a grassroots nonprofit organization from Long Island that creates opportunities that connect communities.
That's right. The organization is called Love Your Neighbor Project, and I can already feel the love from our guests, Aimee Renaud, their president, and Jamie Teich, their founder and chief neighbor. Aimee and Jamie, welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Thank you for having us.
So, Jamie, let's start with you. You founded the Love Your Neighbor Project. What's it all about?
So when the pandemic began, I really wanted to be able to give back to community. And what we were seeing were needs were changing drastically and fast with regards to financial hardships, even on the North Shore of Long Island, and how it became very apparent for me that while for me and my family, I could very easily purchase masks that would protect us, there were families who couldn't. And so that's how this began. This began with the idea of wanting to offer protection to those who could not provide it to themselves. I started out with trying to make masks. I failed at those attempts. And what I do just by nature is I collaborate and I coordinate. And so I found individuals on Long Island who were making homemade masks. And I set up a network where we were producing masks and then handing them to individuals who were in need.
Are you an entrepreneur by nature, or is this the way you kind of run your life? Like if you see a problem, you just honestly dig into it, or you're laughing now?
I do. I am very solutions oriented. It's what I do as my job in my life. And so I think it was just the identifying of a need and being able to very quickly understand that there's a reasonable solution that we can put into place.
You're a real example of turning lemons into lemonade. That's perfect. So, Mike?
I know that you recently decided to get behind the COVID vaccinations assistance. How has the project helped people decide to get the vaccine?
So we went into that initiative. First of all, I will say that we are a non-political organization. We do not stand on sides of the political spectrum. This is all about providing access to those who may need help in getting access. So what I wanted to do was to make sure that those who were in Seacliff and the surrounding areas who may not have been able to go a few blocks to go to one of the walk-in clinics to get a vaccine or one of the mass sites was to just bring it home. We went into that project with the idea of if we provide one vaccine to one individual, our job was done. We were able to walk out of that day vaccinating 39 individuals.
That's really fantastic. I mean, it must feel great personally just to know that your organization has, even if it stopped at the number 39, obviously it hasn't, but that you helped 39 people. I mean, most of us haven't helped one, so doing a great job. I saw on your website that you're giving out the N95 masks and other personal protective equipment as well. How do people sign up for this, and how do you wind up doing that?
Sure. When the reports recently came out suggesting that cloth masks were not offering the best protection against Omicron, we put back in place our COVID-19 response project, securing what we can, N95s, KN95s, or KF94s. And what individuals can do is to just come to our website, lynp.org. And it's right there. We have a pop-up window to make it very easy for people to just put in their email address. It shoots over an email to us to allow us to make sure that those who may not be able to go out and purchase more masks are as protected as they wish to be.
And can you give us that website once again slowly?
Sure. Our website is www.lynp.org.
We got it. We'll ask you that again before the end of the show. Mike?
I think that's absolutely great. I mean, there's a lot of people out there I didn't even know who started trying to make their own makeshift masks in the past. So I think offering that to people who really want that extra protection is a great thing. Aimee, maybe you could help me answer this one. So I saw that your program offers there's a something called a connected neighbor. Could you just define what that is exactly?
Actually, I think Jamie is the best to explain that.
Okay.
So I'm going to give Jamie so many props here. I am just the support to her. This is her baby. I mean, she's not just the founder. I mean, every single aspect of this organization, she is intimately involved in. I'm there to support and add any insights I can on the projects, but this all springs from her head in a magical way. So,
okay, I guess Jamie, then, what's a connected neighbor for your program?
Sure. So once Love Your Neighbor project started to evolve, and it became very clear to me that this didn't just have to be about COVID and the initial response for masks. I started to build safety nets with local professionals, businesses, and service providers to make sure that if somebody was in need, there was a safety net in place to catch them. So a connected neighbor is a professional, a local business person, or a service provider who has built a partnership with us. To date, we have approximately 45 connected neighbors, just really within the Seacliff area and the surrounding areas, to make sure that if you or your family have a need, we're here that we can just support you and step into place. If there's a partnership that hasn't been built, we will go out and we'll find it.
Mike, I'm listening to this answer, and I think I'm devising a new company for them, Problem Solvers. Because if I have a problem, I'm calling Jamie and Aimee. I'm not going to call a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, or anyone else. I don't need my accountant. I need these two to jump on it. They don't waste any time. They get right in there and they get results.
Problem solvers.
Yeah, problem solvers.
Sounds like it could be a show, too.
I'm working on that next. We have to talk after the show. So, ladies, don't stop talking once we're finished taping the show. Now, you obviously talk about neighbors in your title, Love Your Neighbor Project. How can neighbors support each other? Can you give people tips that right today they might be able to do something as they're hearing this show?
It's an interesting question, and it's something that I ask myself all the time. We live in an extremely divisive world right now. And the truth is our community is made up of people who may see the world differently than we do. And what is our role in that? Our role is we can create this conflict, or we can go outside and we can say hello to each other. And for me, I make it a point in my life. I hold the door for everybody. If you say thank you, that's awesome. If you don't say thank you, I held the door because that was my job as a neighbor. And so the very foundation of it all is what can we contribute to our community? And if what I can contribute to my community for today is to walk outside and walk on the sidewalk and say hello to somebody who walks by, then my job as a neighbor has been done. It's also to understand that our needs are all different and to be compassionate and empathetic and to understand that I don't walk in the same shoes that you walk in. And you might see things so vastly differently than I see them. You're allowed to see them that way. And it's my job to not force my opinions on you. It's to hold that mutual respect for each other.
Can I buy stock in your company? And Mike, too. I always worry about him. I want him to be wealthy like I'm going to be wealthy someday. But afterward, we've got to talk about a stock offering and things like that. So, Mike?
No, Can I add on to Jamie's comment? Because, I think the other thing that's really cool about what Jamie's doing is it doesn't have to be grand. It's little things. It's little moments. I was able to start one program with Love Your Neighbor Project, which was the boredom buster boxes, right? When schools were out. It wasn't huge. It was leaving a box of art supplies and crafts every week out for kids who were at remote learning to stop by and pick up and just give parents a break, right? A little arts and crafts thing. It was such a small thing for me to do. And normally I wouldn't do it on my own, right? Because it seemed like such a little thing. But by connecting with Jamie, she helped put all the pieces together and make it a realized thing for me. And I think a lot of people have these small little things they want to do, but you go, oh, that's a tiny thing. I'm not going to do it, right? Oh, I don't think it's going to be that helpful. The cool thing with Love Your Neighbor Project is Jamie knows how to make that happen and make those small neighborly helpful ideas come to life, and they have huge impact, right? It's those small things that matter. And I never would have done it. And every week we did 10 weeks of it, and those boxes were empty, and it was really cool to be able to do that and do something that on my own never would have done. But that was connecting me to an organization and to a community.
And what did you say the name was? Boredom Busters?
Boredom Buster boxes.
Yep. I'm writing all this down for the TV show that we're going to talk about later. So I have reality TV, Boredom Busters. You've got a lot of great names aside from Aimee and Jamie. I mean, it's going to be tough deciding what we're going to name the show. So,
well, it's all the little things that add up to something bigger. But before we continue, I just want to add that you are listening to My Hometown on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Mike DeMarco, along with Bill Horan, and today we are learning all about a grassroots nonprofit organization from Long Island that creates opportunities that connect communities called the Love Your Neighbor Project. Our guests today are Aimee Renaud, their president, and Jamie Teich, their founder and chief neighbor. Now, I know you're a nonprofit organization, but how do you raise funds for this whole project?
So we do a lot of fundraising, whether it's just putting things out, asking for individuals to support what it is that we're doing. We're coming up to our second year of providing service. Each year we've done approximately 12 fundraisers. And as Aimee mentioned before, we do these small little things that create big impact. And that's what really our fundraisers are about. We look for opportunities where people can feel good about connecting to something bigger than themselves. And so it's mostly coming in through fundraising, through events, and just through general donations that are made to the organization.
Mike, I'm getting more and more impressed with this. Do you guys sleep at all? I mean, you're running fundraisers, you're out helping neighbors, and I have the feeling you're going to tell me you're running a university or a hospital in your spare time or something. Is this full time that you do this, or is this something you're shaking your head no?
No. Aimee and I both hold quite large roles in the organizations that we work for. This is solely in spare time, which is a funny statement to make as we're both mothers. I'm a single mother. We both have other responsibilities in terms of our school. We're both on committees at the schools. And we both have very large titles with the organizations that we work for full time.
I'm more and more amazed as you see, looking at my mouth hanging open here, that you're able to do it. And I think it's so wonderful that, again, if someone can help a few people, but it sounds like your numbers are going up and up. And that's one of the questions I want to ask you. How many people would you say that you helped in the year 2021, your first full year of operation?
So it's hard to quantify because what we do, there is a lot of overlap. But the way that we say it is that we've connected to social goodness. So what we're able to say is since starting, we've connected to social goodness almost 1,700 times.
Did you get the number? What have we done? We're just sitting here eating sandwiches and stuff. Now you're making me feel really bad, and Mike too. Like our day is useless after this. I can't go to Wendy's and have the Wendy's special or something for lunch, knowing that you guys are doing so much work. So just say that number again. Was it 1,700? Is
sure, that we're nearing 1,700 times of connecting to social goodness. And why we don't identify the number of individuals that we've helped is a lot of this is based off of anonymity. So we work with partner nonprofits who have built the relationships with the individuals in need. That anonymity does not need to be broken for us to come in and to serve. So for instance, there are nonprofits that we provided masks to. We hold an annual Halloween costume donation, and those individuals have probably received masks. We do a yearly Gifts for Goodness where we're providing gifts from the community to individuals to celebrate February. And those individuals have probably received from other different places. I don't need to know who the end result is. It's just a matter of how many times that we are able to provide support to an individual is where our focus is.
And Mike, I'm imagining that as these ladies are doing good, there's probably many things other people are doing as offshoots without formally telling you, because it's not formal. Maybe they just shovel snow for a neighbor or help them get their car out of the yard or take the garbage out or pull the cans in or something. But little acts that make people realize there's a lot of good people out there, and you're organizing them, and hopefully we can be part of them someday. Right?
Well, it seems like you're a jack of all trades in terms of help, any sort of help that could be offered. You've thought of it. covering all grounds. And I know besides the COVID pandemic and offering, connected help with connected neighbors, we saw on your website that you also help people who might be a victim of harassment, such as receiving unsolicited graphic images and so on. How do you help with this important mission?
Sure. So that actually just began the beginning of this year, January. We received an unsolicited graphic image. And so for me, I needed to process what was sent through email, and what my nature is to then take action on that and to identify that this is happening to other individuals. And as I said before, our role is to create a safety net. So I immediately reached out to somebody who I know is a trauma specialist in the area and said, this is what I'd like to offer the community. And she immediately responded with, absolutely, let's do this. So within about 2 to 3 days of receiving that email, we put out this new project so that if there are other individuals in the area who might need support, they now have a place that they can go to and they can feel safe in going and coming to us with that.
Aimee and Jamie, your life must feel like almost a continual 24-hour college course. No, I mean this seriously, because I'm sure you're learning a lot. It sounds like you have very responsible positions, but you're learning and truly, when I say the word enriching your life, every time you're dealing with one of these other professionals or people on the other side who need some help, you're just growing immensely. I mean, I would imagine each night it's almost like a prayer that your day is going through a lot of the work you're doing. And it must feel great for you and as a great example to the people around you to say there's two people while the rest of us are arguing, should I root for the Mets or the Yankees or the Rangers or the Islanders? They're going out and helping their neighbors and helping the older man down the street and the single mom and the kid who may have some problems, et cetera, et cetera. So on behalf of everybody, thank you. Before I forget, if people are listening and want to take part in this or say, how can I get involved? Do you join up? Is there a membership fee? Do they go to a dance or a golf tournament? Or what is a way they could help you and get involved?
Sure. The first thing is to go to our website, www.lynp.org, to see what we're all about, what it is that we're currently offering, and to raise your hand. I will tell you, Bill, I say this all the time. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have any idea. I'm figuring it out as I go. And I think that it's an important message to share, because people will very often not take the first step because they don't have the expertise in how to get something done. I don't know what I'm doing day to day, and I just figure it out. And there are people here who can hold a hand and to say, let's do this together.
I think that's the beauty of this organization. You're so adaptive. I mean, any problem that comes your way, you come up with it. Like this, the graphic image situation. You encountered an issue, and then you ended up creating a whole new project because of it. It's really says something about it, But I think it's fantastic. But before we continue, I just want to say you are listening to My Hometown on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Mike DeMarco, along with Bill Horan, and today we are learning all about a grassroots nonprofit organization from Long Island that creates opportunities that connect communities called the Love Your Neighbor Project. Our guests today are Aimee Renaud, their president, and Jamie Teich, their founder and chief neighbor. Now, Aimee, I'm so sorry. I feel like I interrupted you towards the end because I just had to say what I had to say because I was impressed. But if you could continue, please, if I didn't break your train of thought.
We were talking about how people can get involved. So it's all a matter of what somebody's interests are, what their capacity is. Last night, I received a text saying, thank you for connecting busy people to doing good, right? That's what this is about, is about figuring out ways to make sure that people have opportunities to connect. So come to our website, www.lynp.org, see what we're about, see if there's something that you'd like to get involved with, either as a professional, as a business owner, as a service professional, a service provider. Sorry there. If you're somebody who's in need, if there's something that we're already providing, if there's something that we can create, we're open to any conversation. And if it's not something that we can take on, we have a huge network that we then direct people to the most appropriate place.
Aimee and Mike, I'm just going to interrupt and say, are there professions and people that we might not think of that would be part of your group and be very useful to your group? And I'm going to take from all walks of life: a fireman, a teacher, a pastor, a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, a surveyor, something like that. Are these people useful in their professional capacities, or is there an area that you really focus on and it's extremely helpful to your organization?
I think Aimee can attest. I don't go into anything saying no. I want to understand what things are about before making any determination. And just because if a lawyer isn't necessarily needed, but that lawyer might be able to provide something else, then there's conversations to be had before shutting anything down. I go into everything with both feet and hearing things out. Aimee, I don't know if you want to.
I'm a statistician. I lead analytics. I in no way had a connection to, and I had this random thought because my kids were home. Like, it has nothing to do with what I do for a living, but statistics is also strategy. So part of what I bring to the board is some strategic thought, but my boredom buster box was completely random. It was something from my heart that I thought, oh, kids could benefit from this. So, I think the great thing is with this organization is it doesn't matter your background, your expertise. There is a way to make it fit. Even just being you and being a neighbor, we find a way. So I think that's a testament to this group and why it is neighborly. Right? It is about just connecting people through that goodness.
Now, it just seems like it's almost hard to keep up. I know we were browsing some of what your program offers prior to our meeting, and it just seems like there's so many different options to choose from. Like, one thing that stood out to us actually was something called Life of the Party. Can you tell us what that is? So,
for me, I have a 7-year-old. We are fortunate enough to be able to put on a party for him and not really think twice about how much a birthday cake is going to cost, how much entertainment is going to be, how many friends he can have. We don't have to think about that in our lifestyle. And not everybody gets the opportunity to say that. So what Life of Your Party is we've created a safety net of professionals in our area that will put on a party. And whether it's they're donating their services for free, whether it's Love Your Neighbor Project paying for it, we want to make sure that a child gets this magical birthday party that they want, even though their parents might not be able to afford it.
This just gets better and better.
I know.
Are you two going for sainthood, or is there some reward at the end that they'll make you a what is it in the British? They make you a lord or a princess or something? Is there something going on here we don't know about or we're missing?
I think your brochure must be as thick as the Yellow Pages. It's just so much to offer.
And they're probably running a few companies on the side. They're not even telling us about this. So now I saw something else here. I think it's called Dress for Success. What is that?
Same thing as this is all about safety networks, safety nets. And so Dress for Success was especially when individuals were finding themselves without their jobs. And our unemployment rates were skyrocketing at the beginning of the pandemic. And people couldn't necessarily go to get their hair cut before going on an interview, or making sure that they had, a shirt, since you can wear sweatpants now in this world of Zoom on an interview, right? But to make sure that they had a blouse that was appropriate for an interview, and to make sure that that money wasn't something that hindered the opportunity for employment.
Again, so many good. You seem to have so many divisions in here. If I didn't know, and I really don't know how many other people you have in the executive part of your organization, but we would get the impression that there's at least 40 or 50, and I'm talking about executives, and then there's the little drones like us here running around the earth doing stuff. But it sounds like, and yet I have the feeling it might be just the two of you or a few more people on the top, and then the rest of them good neighbors who try to help one another.
Now, I mean, it's obviously you have everything. Life of the Party, Dress for Success. I see something called Strive to Thrive. Is there any projects specifically that stand out to you, or feel like you're your personal favorites, or maybe even a passion project that's connected with this program?
Very often
That's gonna be hard for Jamie.
I know. There's so many choices. It's like all of them.
I don't very often get quiet.
The text she sends me when she has an idea, and I'm like, hold on, I just got to catch up.
I look at Love Your Neighbor Project as a whole, and it's constantly evolving, right? I think about what the initial intent was to just get masks. That's it. I did not go into this with anything else. I didn't go into this expecting to donate 2,000 masks and bottles of hand sanitizer, right? That wasn't what this was about at all. I don't think that I can say this one specific thing is my favorite, because the whole is my favorite. Just being able to be a part of this is my favorite.
Aimee, is there one part that you really enjoy, or is there one there's so many different activities and all, I think, with alliterations here. Are there things that you'd say if you can pick what you want to do, and it's your organization, you can, that you'd prefer to do that? Or did you just like to keep the statistics? We're up to 300 in this category and 291 here and 12%
yeah,
of these people.
I imagine a big board, with every single program on it.
So oddly enough, I don't do too much of that. Jamie is when you asked how many people are part of the organization, it's 99% Jamie. I wish I could show you the picture I had from when she started, and her hands all cramped up because she was hand stamping the Love Your Neighbor Project logo onto the masks and tying things together, and all in her home by herself with her kid running in the background. She's so involved in every piece of it. My favorite part has just been being attached to this. If I can take a quick moment to tell a funny anecdotal story about Jamie and how I even met her and why I love this so much. I moved to Seacliff 3 years ago, knew no one, and came down with a weird virus that gave me arthritis in all of my joints. And I sent out a note on Facebook. I was like, does anyone have anything that I can do for this? Right. And how do I feel better? And this woman who I had met once at a kids event goes, oh my gosh, I'm calling you. Hold on. She asked me all these questions about what's going on. And she said, I'm going to do all of this research. And she's very into essential oils and helping and holistic healing. And she's like, I'm going to put together some personalized things for you. And at my door a few days later is this beautiful package of personalized oils for arthritis that she had put together for me. I had met her for maybe 10 minutes, and I just said, how do I get involved with this human being? And so my favorite part of this entire experience has been able to be absolutely correct on my first interaction with her that she's an amazing unicorn of a human being, and say, what is this unicorn going to do with her life, and be able to hitch my wagon to it and see that come to fruition, because I was 100% correct on what kind of person she is.
Aimee and Jamie, we're in a rush to wrap up, but I want you to give the website once again real quick.
Sure. It's www.lynp.org.
We want to thank our guest, Aimee Renaud, President, and Jamie Teich, Founder and Chief Neighbor, at the Love Your Neighbor Project. Thanks so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having us.
I'm Bill Horan. I'm here with Mike DeMarco. We thank you for listening to this week's special edition of My Hometown.
We'd like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to WHPC@ncc.edu. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.